sacked his prime minister and a top aide in a high-level purge on Wednesday after warning of a coup plot against him. Reports from the national broadcaster RTNB says at a hastily called parliamentary session, lawmakers approved the appointment of Security Minister Gervais Ndira Kobuka to replace Bunyoni in a unanimous 113-0 vote. In another development, the European Commission proposed a series of measures on Wednesday to control skyrocketing energy prices in Europe and punish Moscow for invading Ukraine, including a price cap on Russian gas. EU countries are scrambling to face up to a challenging winter ahead, with European consumers facing eye-watering heating bills, with natural gas and electricity prices hovering at record levels. Meanwhile, Russia's President Vladimir Putin has warned that any country that introduces a price cap will receive no Russian energy supplies at all. No gas, no oil, no coal, no fuel oil, nothing. Against this threatening backdrop, European energy ministers are to meet on Friday to discuss action. And EU chief Ursula von der Leyen said she had proposed them a series of measures, including a price cap. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
China is a clear example of how tourism and culture can revitalize a nation's economy, and perhaps a standard that could be adopted by Nigeria. This formed part of the talking points between Chinese and Nigerian delegates at the launch of the 2022 Chinese Tourism and Culture Week in Abuja. Ekene Ndulwe reports.
For over 50 years, Nigeria and China have had close bilateral relations. A statute on culture and tourism was recently signed by both countries with the intent of improving person-to-person relationship and strengthening diplomatic ties. It is the Chinese Culture and Tourism Week, another opportunity for China to showcase how far they have gone in that sector.
I'm fully convinced that if both China and Nigeria continue to work together to push forward our two-countries cooperation in many fields, including tourism and culture, a brighter future and a fruitful result must belong to us.
For the Nigerian delegation, much needs to be done to replicate the Chinese success story here in Nigeria.
We encourage investors to come into this country and help us as well so that we can move hand in hand with the Chinese government.
The over 50 years bilateral relationship between China and Nigeria has really provided us with a lot of experience for us to learn.
The annual event will see China amplify its potentials in the culture and tourism industry. Ekene Ndulwe, NTA News.
Let's bring you an update on COVID-19. The Niger Center for Disease Control has confirmed 147 new cases of the virus in the country. The cases were recorded in 8 states and the Federal Capital Territory. A breakdown indicates that Lagos has the highest number of cases with 64, FCT 45, Akwa Ibom 16, Kano 12, Cross River 5, Kaduna 3, while Abia and Rivers have 1 case each. The 147 new cases brings the total number of confirmed cases to 264,014, 257,510 discharged, with 3,148 deaths recorded from the virus. Nigeria has officially joined the League of Nations with proper guidelines for hand hygiene. This follows the public presentation of a roadmap on hand hygiene. Musbahu Danwahab will tell us all about it.
COVID-19 is the most current among the pandemics that have pressed home the importance of hand hygiene. But as the pandemic continues to wane, irrespective of the wave, many Nigerians now seem to be waving off at hand-washing practice already. And while many have imbibed the culture, they face the challenge of availability of hand-washing facilities in some cases. So, the clarion call for proper hand hygiene by relevant bodies needs to be louder.
Of this, especially with the community, that woman coming from the farm, she does not know that she has to wash her hands before breastfeeding the baby. She does not know that she has to wash her hands before eating that yam that she has just boiled.
To do the launching of Water Resources Ministry and partners responded to this exigency and demand by global agencies for direction and guidelines to provide enabling environments for hand hygiene in Nigeria.
It is my belief that our collective implementation of this roadmap will help in imbibing the habit of effective hand washing with soap in our homes, schools, healthcare facilities, markets, worship centers, work and other public places as we move towards building a healthy and virile nation.
Besides COVID, there are other hygiene-related diseases such as diarrhea, which claim the lives of about 150,000 children annually. And so, development partners want Nigerians to protect their lives with their hands.
Learning from the experience of COVID-19, we are better prepared for future pandemics.
I'm urging the respective states, the LGAs, to key into this roadmap and integrate it with their state-specific open defecation-free roadmaps.
We are trying to pull all these subsectors together and ensure that they implement this by defining their roles, defining their responsibilities, defining getting commitment from each of the line ministries to ensure that this is implemented across the country.
Now, whether the implementation of a roadmap will get the political will across levels of governments or go the way of others on the shelves is one of the questions begging for answers. In Abuja, Muspal and Wahab, NTA News.
All right, let's take a break. We're back shortly. Stay tuned.
Forget last season. Forget the winners and the losers. Forget every moment that stole the show. Because this is a brand new season on GoTV. And it's going to be bigger and better than any season before it. With over 7 leagues and top competitions, plus a World Cup. Make sure you get the best seats in the house this new football season. Get a decoder, GoTenna, plus 1 month GoTV Max for 6,900 Naira only. Bigger season, greater football. GoTV. Love it.
Latest entrant, latest technology. Welcome to Intel 4G LTE Advanced and experience super fast internet access today. Visit intel.com.ng or any of our stores in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt to get started. Intel. Live more.
Welcome back. The federal government has increased steps to block leakages in the nation's solid mineral sector to boost revenue. This was revealed in Lokoja, the Kogi State capital, during a workshop organized by the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission for stakeholders in mining in the state. Solomon Ayedeyin reports.
Against the backdrop of the global downturn in the economy, with Nigeria having its fair share, it has become imperative for the federal government to identify and block all leakages in the mining sector to boost the nation's revenue. Hence, the move by the Revenue Allocation Mobilization and Fiscal Commission to embark on nationwide monitoring of revenue collections and the activities of miners at the state and local government councils. This is targeted at bridging accountability gaps and shore up revenue allocation accruable to the 3 tiers of government for developmental purposes.
This program is to enlighten the people and also to see the government participation in ensuring that there is proper monitoring of the miners' activities in Kogi State. By the time we wrap up this program and the follow-up, the revenue accruing from solid mineral to the Federation accounts will definitely increase.
Governor Yahaya Bello, represented by his deputy, Edward Onoja, who described Kogi State as the solid mineral capital of Nigeria, lamented the loss of revenue through the activities of illegal miners. He called for a review of the law, setting up the commission to enable a backward assessment of revenue lost for collection and for effective monitoring and accountability going forward.
I would urge the Commission to continue to imbibe the spirit of transparency accountability that they have always been known for.
It is expected that the success of the deliberation will go a long way to mold effective and efficient revenue formula for the nation.
The training has empowered several youths and women.
We are doing this program in coordinating and implementing the assessment was based not only on how they handle the in-class activity, but also how they have been able to coordinate the apprenticeship program.
3 outstanding centers emerged best among so many others across the country.
It means that we have a future for our youths in Nigeria.
I feel honored by this award. At least I make my state proud today.
Federal government's Empower program has about 251 centers offering programs for the hospitality and tourism trade in the country. The federal government has paid more than 4 billion naira claims to 357 out of the 776 claims reported as at September 2022 in the key performance indexes on settlement of claims. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemieson, said this during an engagement with underwriters of the group life insurance policy of the federal civil servants. Let's hear more from Hamman Jabani.
The engagement is to bridge the existing gap between the underwriters and brokers to stop repeating things without achieving meaningful results. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemieson, says federal government is doing its best to improve the welfare of families of diseased workers through the prompt release of funds for the payment of death benefits, while the underwriters and brokers are frustrating the effort by their unserious attitude, adding that this non-performance will no longer be accepted. She said that from the breakdown of the report, there is a clear indication of a huge gap between the number of claims reported and those paid, and that there is the need for improvement from the insurance service providers.
We have not hit even 40% claim payments. That is claim payment. And I'm wondering, what are we doing wrong? There must be a problem. If it were that the monies have not been paid, then we'll say, okay, money has not been paid, and so claims cannot be paid. But from my records, we have paid completely. And so what exactly is happening?
The underwriters made a firm commitment to support the head of service by doing the needful to bridge the gap between the underwriters and the brokers, which they identify as a major issue responsible for late payment of claims to families of departed civil servants. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
Let's turn to the judiciary. The purpose of sanctions under the law is to ensure adherence of members of the society to rules and regulations. In a bid to achieve this, the Nigerian legal system is now undergoing reforms towards ensuring the humane treatment of offenders, as it holds consultations on ways of enhancing the non-custodial sentencing model. Olabode Arewa reports.
A marked feature of a criminal trial is to obtain the conviction or acquittal of a defendant. Typically, the convicts are sent to correctional centers to serve their sentences, except for juveniles who are sent to remand homes for reformation. Not many people are aware of the coming into existence of new measures under the administration of Criminal Justice Act and the Nigeria Correctional Service Act, providing for simpler measures that reform, rehabilitate, and reintegrate offenders into the society. For instance, under the non-custodial measures being championed by the Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee or the Federal Ministry of Justice and other partners, over 23,000 convictions have been achieved already, with offenders made to either pay fines, do community service, or some other actions, depending on the peculiarity of the case.
We appreciate that community service is perhaps the most feasible area that is being practiced presently, but we believe that issues around restorative justice, we are also very much interested.
Abuja appreciates that
we must consider the issues of reformation.
Although an implementation committee to drive the non-custodial measures is yet to be inaugurated, its positive effects are already manifesting in the decongestion of correctional centers.
Restorative justice aims at repairing the harm caused by offenders in the society. It is achieved through a cooperative process involving the offender, the offended, and the community.
With the political will and the institutional buy-in increasing day by day, key players in the justice sector believe that the society will be the ultimate beneficiary. In Abuja, Olabodarewa, NTA News.
All right, let's bring you sports update.
Super Falcons continue their build-up to next year's World Cup with a 1-2 loss to the United States in the second of their double-header friendly in Washington, D.C. Wednesday morning as Uche Nakano's goal ends Nigeria's 20-year scoreless streak against the full-time world champions.
If we can actually get a goal against the USA, then who says we can't do better come next year?
In volleyball, Nigeria beat Libya in straight sets 25-15, 25-18 and 25-16 Wednesday to reach semi-finals of the ongoing Under-19 Men's African Nations Championship in El Jadida, Morocco. In squash, Bumi Abata and Rufiat Abdulaziz emerged champions of the 16th Closed and Club Invitational Tournament at the Lagos Country Club Ikeja after defeating Haniel Haddison and Busayo Olatunji 3-1 apiece. Saeed Khan of Eko Club beat Olumide Sojirin of Ikoyi Club 3-1 in the Veterans Final, while Ona Okpemibo Adekoke triumphed 3-1 over Samuel Kehinde in the PSA Men's Final. 15 clubs, including one from Ghana, and 53 professionals competed in the two-week tournament.
It's always our pleasure to promote sporting and social events, but that is the anchor of our club.
Meanwhile, the National Council of Arts and Culture and the IBB Gulf and Country Club Abuja are on course to commemorate Nigeria's 62nd independence anniversary, lining up a week-long event featuring a match play between Nigeria and members from over 40 countries at the club.
We'll also be happy to give you all the support, because if we don't do that for you, others will take over the space and sell Nigeria from the wrong angle, which will be in our interest.
We're going to start with a Ryder Cup-like match play, which will be between Nigerian communities and international communities.
The tournament is set to aid elevation of Nigeria's cultural heritage and external image. That's Sports Update. I am Kenan Ima Aburike, NTA News.
And that's the news. Thank you very much for your time. But please do join NTA in the fight against rape and rapist Ruth Aguele. My sign language interpreter is Hannah Olainka. Bye.
Our pastors, our imams, in every church, in every mosque, please realize that in the course of praying for peaceful and transparent elections, we all have duties beyond prayers. If we want a stable society before, during, and after the elections, what should you be saying to those that worship with you? All Sundays and all Fridays, you are saddled with the responsibility of bringing up good generations. It is therefore your duty to both man and God to ensure peace all the time, no matter about elections alone. People talk to people and people listen. Talk to your followers. Make them listen to ensure peaceful 2023 elections. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
The National Youth Service Corps, a call to service, a call to nationhood. Nigerian youths, stand up and embrace this clarion call. Wherever you are posted, accept it, embrace it. Do not harbor any fears, because your security is assured. Develop common ties with members of your host communities. You would discover that North, South, East, and West, we are all brothers with common ties and a shared destiny as one nation. Do not lobby for preferential posting, for it is unpatriotic and illegal. Report at once to the orientation camp as soon as you are posted, and contribute your quota to the overall development of our great nation, Nigeria. The National Youth Service Corps, building future leaders.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of NYSC Half Hour. I am Nkem Agunwa. The National Youth Service Corps was established in 1973 as a response to the challenge of national unity as a consequence of the 1967 to 1970 Nigeria Civil War. The primary purpose of establishing the NYSC scheme was therefore to engender reconciliation, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. Having been in existence for close to 50 years, the operations, programs, and objective of the scheme have undergone innovations in line with the realities of challenges in the social, political, and economic situation in the country. Although the National Youth Service Corps has largely achieved its cardinal objectives, the rapid change in demographic and social intuition of young people inevitably calls for innovative approaches to further enhance the achievements of the scheme, cascading into other segments of youth in the country. With increased and better funding, the National Youth Service Corps will no doubt achieve greater results. This makes the NYSC Trust Fund an immediate necessity that will help drive the growth of the scheme and strategically position it to respond effectively to the emerging needs of the nation. Come with us as I take you through the proposed NYSC Trust Fund. In realization of the troubling global situation of unemployment, the NYSC initiated the Skill Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Development Program, SAID. The program is aimed at building the capacity of core members to gain the required entrepreneurship and hands-on skill for self-reliance. Although the SAID program is widely acclaimed as laudable, and despite enabling participation of all core members in the in-camp component at no cost, there is a challenge with post-camp uptake. Most core members do not enroll for skill acquisition after the orientation camp, mostly because of financial reasons. The Trust Fund would help mitigate this challenge and would set up core members for financial success post-service.
The NYSC Trust Fund is a fund aimed at strengthening the operations of the National Youth Service Corps. Part of the objective is to enhance the welfare of corps members. Under the fund, all corps members that have gone through the service year, we also have and have also participated actively in both camp and post-camp training under the NYSC Said program will be given a seed capital. It will also lead to the improvement of our camp facilities and make it more conducive for habitation by core members. And this fund will enable core members who have completed the national service to access funds to establish their own businesses, thereby making them job creators than job seekers. On a holistic note, the fund will not only strengthen the scheme, but it will also reinvent the scheme and position the scheme for greater benefits to the Nigerian youth.
NYSC in 2012 decided to institute the Skill Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Program so that we can use this opportunity to teach these young ones various skills, let them acquire skills. If the white-collar job is no more there, as they are getting out of the national service, they will have something to lay their hands on, make money, employ labor, and also contribute to the GDP of the country. Now, in the orientation program that we have nationwide, the 3 weeks orientation, we set aside 10 days to teach them different skills. And we prompt them to identify ones they have interest in. One, within that 10 days, we'll give them the introductory aspects of it. Okay? Now, after the orientation camp, we have trainers that will follow them up in what we call post-orientation training. And from that point to the point they will pass out, it is expected that they would have perfected the art of the skill which they have chosen.
Hello viewers, I'm Thompson Justina. I'm from Akwa Ibom. So this group is the automobile group, and during our class we were taught car tracking, installing of the gadgets, and then car maintenance. So in the process of tracking a car and installing the gadgets, we were taught 2 steps, 2 ways in which you can do it. The one that videos everything, and then the one that monitors communication. So this is the gadget, this is the microphone. It is what is used to monitor conversations, like communication. And then this is the gadget. It has a place where you can install a SIM card, and then there's a power button where you can on and off it from. And then it has a memory space too. Then these are like the wires that you can use to install it, like connect it to the car.
On graduation from NYSC, it's also expected through the trust fund, we can give them startup capital to set up one small business or the other. And in doing it, they will also be helping Nigerian nation to employ people. If one core member can employ 2, don't forget, we mobilize close to 350,000 core members every year. Now, let's take an average of 300 core members getting this grant, setting up small-scale business, and each core member employing every year at least 2. You can understand the effect in the economy of this nation. And that's what we are talking about.
I feel grateful for NYSC. NYSC provides that platform whereby I don't even have to think of getting a job. But as you can see, I have more than 8 employees. That's full-time. I have part-time workers that do work for me. NYSC did not only help me to create a job for myself, but also to have the opportunity to employ others.
I will always be proud of NYSC anywhere I go to. I will always say I'm a beneficiary of NYSC because I get a grant from that platform, and it has actually helped me to build my brand. And now I can say, oh, this is Oge's Fashion, and this is what we do. I want to say big thank you to NYSC, and I want to say big thank you to BOI for collaborating with NYSC to help young ones like me.
If not for NYSC, I might have ended up looking for a job somewhere, as an employee. But I'm happy that I was opportune, to come for service and able to grab this opportunity. Is a gold mine.
At this stage, I'm not going to look for a white-collar job because now I'm not actually looking for someone to employ me. Rather, I'm employing people.
If not for Said, I don't know where I would be today. Because today, from this customizing and tailoring business that I learned for free from Said Skills Acquisition, I think I can boast of having 2 houses on my own. I don't know the kind of job I would do that will actually fetch me that.
The encouragement and the lecture I learned from camp that encouraged me to try to be self-reliant.
There is no doubt that the NYSC Trust Fund holds the solution to the many challenges besieging the country today. The development of a country is propelled by its youth. The NYSC Trust Fund is a key to advancing the development of our dear country, Nigeria. We move on to our next story, where we highlight the activities of core members in Nasarawa State ICT Center. So innovative and creative. Come with us.
Hello viewers at home, my name is Akinyele Olubukola. I'm from Ogun State. You are welcome to ICT State Center, Nasarawa State. Here are the gadgets used for the course of the training. We have our printer, we have our scanner. The printer is used to print documents. It prints documents in A4 format. Then we have our scanner for scanning data into the computer system, which processes out the information. We have a 3-in-1 computer system, which is used to design different purposes. Then we have a photocopy machine, which is used to photocopy different copies. Also, this printer can also work as 3-in-1. It can also work as a scanner. It can also work to print direct image from the computer and also documents from the computer. And it also prints copiers, which is known as photocopying of documents. Then this is the spiral binding machine, which is used to spiral bind documents. This is a manual form of spiral binding documents. Then we have a laminating machine, which is used to laminate documents. It can also be used to laminate ID card. It can laminate any photo card. It can laminate a birth certificate, any type of certificate. And as this machine is good, we also have to be careful because a document can get burnt or destroyed if the temperature is high. Thereby, we have to regulate the temperature to the optimal temperature for the documents to be processed out. Then we have our 3-in-1 computer system in which it's used to design different data purposes. This 3-in-1 system, this is whereby we put in our information, which is known as data in and also known as data out, because whatever command you give to the system, that's the command that you give to the system, that's the command that it will process out. So these are our 3-in-1 computer. And to the classes, we have different gadgets used for the training. My people at home, you may be wondering how I got to know about all this. Our instructor gave us a sound training on it by giving us some manual and by giving us some software to download on the internet. Then we have different packages. We have the Microsoft Excel used for calculation of accounting works. We have some project students, such as the accounting student, who makes use of this Microsoft Word. Without using the manual calculation, the Microsoft Excel can also work out any type of accounts You can use it for any calculation, pie charts, bar charts, further mass calculation. So we make use of this Microsoft Excel because it is a neat package for the work. From the ICT Sales Center group, I want to assure the NYSC State Coordinator, the ICT Sales group, that what we have learned so far, that we're able to set up our own business, to be an entrepreneur.
My name is Ugo Emmanuel from Enugu State. Before coming to the camp, I had no knowledge about phone repairs and CCTV installation. But right now, I can boast of the fact that I can fix a phone. Right here was the phone given to me yesterday by one of my colleagues that mistakenly dropped the phone into water. While repairing this, I found out that the panel was blocked by some liquids and the rest of them. I was able to service it and power it. Now the phone is now functioning very well. Only that the screen is affected, and these need to be gotten from the market. I can install CCTV cameras. I can fix any problem on the CPU. I can flash a system on a phone, both iPhones and Android phones. And all this I got to know why in the course of this program here at the camp.
I want to thank Nasarawa State ICT side for equipping me with skills such as Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, front-end web development, and graphic designing. I learned a lot of skills in Microsoft Word. I learned how to password a document. If I don't want people to get access to that document, for instance, if I'm working in a company or if I'm working in a school and I don't want other people to get access to the Microsoft Word document, I can put a password. I also learned how to watermark in Microsoft Word. Like a watermark is like an image or a phrase that you put in the background of a Word document. It is used to show the ownership of the document. For instance, if I don't want anybody to copy my document, I can just put my logo at the background of the document.
I had no knowledge about ICT, but when I got here, I registered under the Skill Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Development side group of the ICT, and here we are. I've learned a lot. I've learned basic Microsoft packages. I've learned graphic design and other benefits that we have in the ICT. And I can assure you that as I'm leaving this orientation camp, I'm no longer looking for any white-collar job. I'm going to open my own business center. I will start my own business enterprise and run my ICT firm.
Information technology is argued by experts as the fourth revolution, and the NYSC is not resting on its oars. The scheme is empowering core members to function effectively in the technological sector and to utilize the many opportunities that abound. We will be right back. NYSC Titbit. General Father seeks affordable housing for NYSC officials. The Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Mohammed Kaku Father, has assured that his administration would ensure that every staff of the scheme would work in conducive environments and also have personal accommodation in order to boost their morale. He stated this when he paid a courtesy visit on the Managing Director of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Madu Haman, in his office in Abuja. He said a friendly working environment and personnel residential apartment is a necessity for every worker. Father requested the FMBN to sensitize NYSC officials so as to enable them benefit from the federal government housing loan and other welfare packages of the bank. Colonel Amadou Ali applauds NYSC managers. The pioneer Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Colonel Amadou Ali, has applauded the managers of the scheme for building on the legacies of the founding fathers. He said their performances, innovations, and teamwork has sustained the vision as an avenue for graduate youth of Nigerian origin to contribute their quota to national unity and development. Ali stated this when the NYSC Director General, Brigadier General Muhammad Kaku Fada, with some directors and co-members, paid him a courtesy visit at his residence in Abuja. NPC enlists co-members for 2023 National Census. The National Population Commission has said partnership with the National Youth Service Corps is very crucial to the success of 2023 National Population and Housing Census. The chairman of the commission, Honorable Nasir Isa Kwara, disclosed this when the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Muhammad Kaku Fada, paid him a courtesy visit in his office in Abuja. He said that the involvement of corps members who are graduates of different courses with the required skills from the NYSC will add more credibility to the exercise. Commended the corps members that participated in the recent census pre-test exercise during the demarcation of all the 774 local government areas of the country for their exemplary performances. Naval Boss hails corps members' conduct. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Zubeiru Gambo, has commended the level of discipline in the corps members posted to naval formations in the country. He equally poured encomiums on the scheme for its immense contributions to national development. He stated this when the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Muhammad Kaku Fada, paid him a courtesy visit in his office in Abuja. The naval boss who lauded General Fada for his commitment to the progress of the scheme since he assumed duties as the 19th Director General of the National Youth Service Corps also advised him to sensitize the corps members that would participate in the 2023 general elections to adhere strictly to the electoral laws.
It's new, it's fresh, it's hot. NYSC TV and radio. Tune in to the NYSC TV and radio on channel 365 TSTV and 88.3 FM radio for all-round information and entertainment. The only station managed by graduate youths, brought to you from the Directorate Headquarters of the National Youth Service Corps. NYSC TV and radio, putting the nation first.
The Director General and Management of the National Youth Service Corps wish to remind the general public of the provisions of the Nysc Act, which states in Section 13, subsection 1, that any person who fails to report for service in the Service Corps in the manner directed by the Directorate or as the case may be, prescribed pursuant to the provisions of this Act, or who refuses to make himself available for service for a period specified in subsection 2 is guilty of an offense and liable on conviction to a fine or to imprisonment to a term of 12 months or both, fine and imprisonment. Subsection 2 states that any person who is not eligible to participate in the service year so participates or attempts to participate is guilty of an offense or having served in a service year and has been duly issued with a certificate of national service or certificate of exemption, as the case may be, is guilty of an offense and is liable upon conviction to a fine or imprisonment to a term of 2 years or both fine and imprisonment. All stakeholders, including corps producing institutions, prospective corps members, and guardians, should be guided in their conduct and desist from criminal practices in relation to the scheme. Thank you.
Thank you for staying with us on today's episode of NYSC Half Hour. You can always write to us on the online handles displayed on your screens right now, and we would write back. You could catch us on NYSC TV on TSTV channel 365 and NYSC Radio 88.3 FM. Remember, the safety of corps members in our communities It's the responsibility of you and I. Until I see you next time, I am Nkem Agunwa. Stay safe.
You obey the power on top. We dedicate to selflessness. Nigeria's Nigeria is yours. You obey the lion. Let us lead our nation under the sun of Inauguration. We dedicate to selflessness. Nigeria's Nigeria is yours. Obey the power on top. Let us lead our nation under the sun of Inauguration. We dedicate to yes.
Latest entrant, latest technology. Welcome to Intel 4G LTE Advanced and experience super fast internet access today. Visit intel.com.ng or any of our stores in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt to get started. Intel. Live more.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet, and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International. Your window to the world.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. You can download www.visiontv.co.uk, app for iOS or Android. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
What is happening? Your eyes are red. You are armed with a machete and a gun.
See, I am angry and I can't even contain it. See.
Oh, my guy, calm down, calm down.
See, Oga, I have planned to go and destroy these people's businesses in the city. I have to retaliate for what they've done at their own place. They cannot eat their cake and have it now, never.
If you destroy their business here, and they destroy that of those close to you over there, especially that your brother who sends you steady cash, how would you survive? Would your dreams be on hold?
What you're saying is correct. But I'm still angry.
Best way is to embrace peace. With peace and unity,
my people,
our country will be
let
a
us
better
embrace
place.
peace and unity. Let's learn to live as brothers and sisters for a progressive, prosperous nation. This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve their sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news, or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet, and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTA.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Reliable bookmaker with high odds. Wide selection on events. And bonuses for every taste. OneXBet is yours, is a win. Register with promo code and get a huge welcome bonus on your first deposit.
Forget last season. Forget the winners and the losers. Forget every moment that stole the show, because this is a brand new season on Gold TV, and it's going to be bigger and better than any season before it, with over 7 leagues and cup competitions, plus a World Cup. Make sure you get the best seats in the house this new football season. Get a decoder, Gold Tenor, plus 1 month Gold TV Max for 6,900 Naira only. Bigger season, greater football. Gold TV. Love it.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news, or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
What is happening? Your eyes are red. You are armed with a machete and a gun.
See, I am angry and I can't even contain it. See.
Oh, my guy, calm down. Calm down.
See, Oga, I have planned to go and destroy this food's businesses in the city. I have to retaliate for what they've done at our own place. They cannot eat their cake and have it now, never.
If you destroy their business here and they destroy that of those close to you over there, especially that your brother who sends you steady cash, how would you survive? Would your dreams be on hold?
See, what you're saying is correct, but I'm still angry.
Best way is to embrace peace. With peace and unity.
My people, let us embrace peace and unity. Let's learn to live as brothers and sisters for a progressive, prosperous nation. This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Would you ever build a house without a blueprint? Probably not, because nailing pieces of wood together without a plan could lead to disaster. The same concept is true in the academic world. An implementation plan functions as a blueprint for any shared objective. Your plan should include everything from project strategy to the budget to the list of people working on the project. Successful project completion means that you have delivered what you agreed on in the scope of the project while ensuring that all acceptance criteria have been met. The stakeholders are satisfied and business objectives have been fulfilled. There is always a feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment when that happens. For many years, the Tertiary Education Trust Fund has been working hard with Nigerian authors through its technical advisory group on book publication to ensure that Nigerian pupils and students have Nigerian textbooks that are relevant to their realities and to the development objectives of the nation. These efforts are bearing fruit and forming the foundations of Nigeria's knowledge economy. These are the chronicles of the journey to institutionalize research and development in Nigeria. Hello, and welcome to this edition of TED Fund, The Paradigm Shift. I am Stanley Bentu. The Book Development Fund initiative of TED Fund is designed to address the dearth of quality, locally produced books and journals through revitalizing of professional academic publishing and thereby promoting the consumption of locally published materials in our tertiary institutions. Now, it's also aimed at encouraging the production of local books. To have abundant and diverse quality textbooks is extremely important in shaping our society. Now, experts have identified book publishing as an effective vehicle for development and positive change in the behavior and attitude of a people. It is the nerve center of education, and it helps people to gain full control of their environment. Now, not only is book publishing serious business, it's also a benchmark of a nation's education. And on top of that, it is an important index of national development. So it's worrisome that the quality of most academic publications in our country leaves a lot to be desired. Now, to fight this trend, the Book Development Fund intervention was deliberated and created by TED Fund with the aim of restoring the culture of research and high-quality academic publishing within the higher education subsector. Now, I'm happy to announce that the policy is yielding fruit because 10 TED Fund-sponsored textbooks published by the University of Ibadan Press in conjunction with Mosuro the Booksellers Limited was presented at the conference hall of the Federal Ministry of Education in Abuja, Nigeria recently. Now, we'll bring you all of the details of this exciting event. But first, let's take a trip down memory lane to unpack TED Fund's documented journey in book development and publication.
The TED Fund Book Development Fund was set up to intervene in 3 areas, namely the development and publication of academic books and the conversion of theses into books, support for professional association journals, and the establishment and sustainability of academic publishing centers, APC. In order to ensure successful implementation of the higher education book development project, the Board of Trustees of TED Fund in 2009 set up the Technical Advisory Group, TAG, whose mandate includes collaboratively working with the fund in fine-tuning the book development blueprint document into a strategic working document that clearly spells out the administrative procedures. It is also to provide frameworks and guidelines for effective TED Fund higher education book development intervention funds in tertiary education institutions in the country and review the documents whenever the need arises. In 2009, a renowned academic, Professor Charles Awo, was appointed chairman of the TAG to ensure adequate production of indigenous academic textbooks with an initial approval of 2 billion naira for Book Development Fund to take up the project. He was reappointed to lead the reconstituted TAG in 2021.
On behalf of my distinguished chairman, Professor Charles Awo, and indeed all members of TAG, I would like to begin by commending the BOT and the idiots for the foresight in reconstituting this high caliber team of eminent scholars with a very clear mandate. We would like to assure everyone of our commitment and dedication towards the discharge of this onerous responsibility as we look forward to your continued support and encouragement. We shall continue to serve as your reliable pillar of support for your responsibility of research and publication. That we can assure you that we shall continue to work assiduously to ensure that we support you in the discharge of this now number one priority mandate of tenure, research and publication.
The expectation of the fund is that senior academics should be able to produce exceptional quality manuscripts for the academia, as well as to serve as mentors to young and mid-career academics. They should be challenged to take advantage of funding opportunity from the fund for this purpose. Terms of reference are as follows: Harvard's doctorate thesis and master's dissertation from across beneficiary institutions for possible conversion into books. Screen proposals on manuscripts and theses and dissertations for development into academic textbooks, and advising TED funds on fundable manuscripts and theses or dissertations. Screen and advise TED fund on submissions from professional associations to support production of learned journals. Recommend reviewers for screened manuscripts, theses, and dissertations for engagement by TED fund for technical assessment. Advise the fund on how to enhance and improve the production of quality academic books, journals, and other academic learning materials. Review materials for journal publication from relevant professional bodies. Ensure the establishment and proper functioning of the academic publishing centers via the 3 subcommittees. On the 13th to 14th of April 2021, the TAG subcommittee on the book publication held a crucial meeting with the chairman of the Technical Advisory Group, Professor Charles Awo, setting the tone.
Almost 2 years now. That is the Technical Advisory Group that TED Fund established to primarily address the problem of scarcity of good quality textbooks in Nigerian tertiary education system. That is our primary mandate. Under that mandate, we have 3 components. And one of the components is one that has been meeting for the past 2 days or so, which is the book publication subcommittee. The responsibility of the book publication subcommittee is to actually publish books, academic books, written by Nigerian authors for the Nigerian tertiary education system.
TAG has held many meetings over the years in progression of its work. The latest edition convened on the 24th of May 2022. On its agenda, the consideration of progress reports on manuscripts in press at the University of Ibadan and those to be published by the Southwest APC at the University of Lagos, North Central APC at the University of Jos Press, Northwest APC at the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria Press, and the Northeast APC at the Modibo Adamawa University of Technology, Yola. The Executive Secretary of TED Fund, Architect Sonia Chono, paid a surprise visit to the Technical Advisory Group Book Publication Subcommittee.
It was saddening that the last time we actually publicly as an institution supported and brought out or published books was 2014, which is almost 8 years ago. So the first thing I told him was that I want us to be able to, at the end of this year, publish close to 40 books in 4 tranches, starting from June. I gave you those timelines. And we're happy that the manuscripts are available. They've gone through specialized review, peer review, expert review, and all that is required. And are judged to be relevant for use in our institutions. But there's no reason why we shouldn't take this forward and quickly make them available to improve the quality of teaching and learning.
The Academic Publishing Center subcommittee met primarily to discuss the issue of the academic publishing centers, why we are still at this stage with them, given the fact that this project really started as far back as 2009. So we are not happy, and I'm sure that you are not happy. So we had very, very useful discussions as to what we think should be done. Lastly, along my discussions with chiefs, to make sure that the APCs, the printing presses, are well utilized, fully to their capacity. Because that is a real challenge. So we came up with a suggestion that we pass on to you, and so the direction in which we think we should now go.
One of TAG's most important roles is quality control. This guarantees that any textbook that would earn access to TED funds must pass all integrity tests and must be able to hold its own, even on international library shelves. Today, the fund has achieved a milestone as the sponsored books project is giving results. TED Fund's higher education book development intervention, targeted at essentially addressing the crisis of paucity of reading and learning materials in Nigeria's higher education institutions, was rewarded with the presentation of 10 books, and an additional 30 books sponsored by the fund will be unveiled before the end of the year. The textbooks, which have been designed to be used in the nation's ivory towers, were co-authored by 56 academics from Nigerian tertiary institutions, in which 60% was published by the Academic Publishing Centers, APCs, established by TED Fund.
These are indeed exciting times for the Nigerian academics, authors, publishers, and students who, let's face it, shouldn't have to receive their education from handouts that are largely culled from foreign reading materials. There are three major challenges being faced by academic institutions here. First, we have the poor quality of books that have existed over the years. Now that needs to stop. And then we have rising foreign exchange costs, which make it difficult to import quality textbooks, not to mention the fact that some of these textbooks may not be perfectly suited for Nigeria anyway. And finally, there is the pressure of demand among several other inadequacies. Now, we simply need more textbooks, and good ones at that. As I mentioned earlier, the Tertiary Education Trust Fund has sponsored 10 indigenous textbooks to tackle these problems. Now, these books were presented recently at the Ministry of Education. Let's take a look at how it went.
TED Fund has sponsored publication of 10 books for different fields of study in the nation's universities. On Tuesday, the 23rd of August 2022, it organized a public presentation of the 10 sponsored textbooks, which were published by the University of Ibadan Press, in conjunction with Mosuro Booksellers Limited at the conference hall of the Federal Ministry of Education in Abuja, Nigeria. Speaking at the presentation on Tuesday, Minister of Education Malam Adamu, who was represented by the Minister of State, Mr. Goodluck Nanaopia, revealed that so far, 77 manuscripts had passed through vigorous review processes, by distinguished scholars, and with an additional 30 that will be presented before the end of the year.
It is noteworthy that so far 77 manuscripts have been passed through rigorous review processes by distinguished scholars and are ready for publication as books. I want to assure this gathering that an additional 30 books will be presented before the end of the year under the TEDFund sponsorship program. It will be of interest also to note that over 60% of these books are to be published by the academic publishing centers established by TEDFund.
He added that teaching and research depend on relevant instructional materials, such as published books and journals, monographs, and other specialized reading materials, as well as e-publishing of books and journals.
Ladies and gentlemen, the government is giving more attention to publication through TEDFund in a bid to provide adequate indigenous learning materials in our tertiary educational institutions for national development and improve the global ranking of Nigeria's tertiary institutions.
Also speaking, Executive Secretary of TEDFund, Architect Sonia Chono, expressed delight over the quality of the 10 books, saying that additional 30 books sponsored by the fund will be unveiled before the end of the year, even as he assured of the readiness of the agency to sponsor production of 50 textbooks in 2023.
Grateful to the Honorable Minister for his charge when I assumed office. He made the remark that he did not see why we cannot publish at least 50 books per annum. And I took this message after receiving briefings from my colleagues, all the directors, Engineer Gutala, I really appreciate and thank you for this wonderful. So I said, since I'm resuming in March, for the rest of the year, we should be able to publish 40. And by next year, we'll publish 50.
The TEDFund boss also revealed that the fund has provided support to ensure all the academic publishing centers in the country become fully operational.
When we started, it was only University of Lagos that was functional. We've taken the necessary steps to ensure that the contractual arrangements for their completion are finalized. And in the last few months, 4 of them have been completed. The last 2 are basically at finishing stage. So by the end of September, we expect to bring them on board. And we are now working on the arrangements for sustainable management and operations of those publishing centers.
On his part, Chairman of TEDFund TAG, Professor Charles Owl, said 20 TEDFund-sponsored textbooks were published in 2014 on different fields with wide acceptance from within and outside the country, adding that 3 of the 10 new books unveiled today were from PhD theses. He, however, called for more empowerment of the nation's publishing centers.
I should add, Honorable Minister, that among the 10 books being presented to the public today, 3 are from PhD theses of our young academics that have been converted to books. 3 others are multi-authored basic or fundamental texts in chemistry, vet surgery, and public finance, commissioned by TEDFund and written by some of our best intellectuals in the academia and private sector, including those in the diaspora. In essence, Honorable Minister, TAG is fully on course in meeting the target of publishing 40 books set by TEDFund by the end of the year. The only constraint is the academic publishing capacity of Nigeria's universities, and I wish to appeal to our vice chancellors to prioritize academic publishing
and provide the needed support, particularly in the area of capacity building, because there is a serious dearth of well-trained personnel in the fine processes of book publishing in our universities.
Following the speeches, presentation, and goodwill messages, the big moment arrived. It was time for the unveiling. The textbooks presented include Principles of Veterinary Surgery, a concise text for veterinary students, Fundamentals of Chemistry, Fundamentals of Public Finance, Java for Beginners, and Web Design and Programming for Beginners. Others are the Comparative Method and Civil Military Relations, Fluid Mechanics and Hydraulics for Engineers, a Guide to Teacher Competence Evaluation, Financial Deepening and Economic Growth in Nigeria, and Motivational Factors and Teachers' Efficiency in Secondary Schools.
The paradigm shift caught up with one of the authors of the 10 books, Dr. Israel Onokera Imide, who is the author of Financial Deepening and Economic Growth in Nigeria. And he was asked about what relevance this project would have in deepening the education system and the nation at large. Here's what he said.
Financial deepening is coming at a time where we will have crisis in the Nigerian financial system. A few days ago, we'll be hearing about money being trapped, airlines being moving out of the country. If you are solvent, if finances are made available for investors, people will not be talking about money being trapped and all of that. So financial deepening is all about looking at the Nigerian financial system and how money can be made available for economic growth.
It's really interesting to see that what TED Fund has done is not only working for the students and scholars of Nigeria, but for the entire national economy. Now, this is because this intervention project, which promises to yield 50 more books by the end of next year, in addition to 40 more before the end of 2022, an entire value chain of economic prosperity will be built. The writers will benefit from the royalties of their intellectual properties. Publishers would benefit from the sales of the books. Printers would benefit from the contracts to print, who will in turn benefit as the end users pick up those books at the store. And this is not even to mention ICT, the app developers and the ebook industry, as well as ink dealers, paper manufacturers, and so on. All of this to be achieved while ensuring that Nigerian students and scholars of the future enjoy a better quality of education so they can positively contribute to economic growth of the nation. And that is the paradigm shift. Join us again on the next edition of the program. Thank you for stopping by. Good night.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
This is the network service of the NTA.
It's another time on the Power Circuit, a power sector program brought to you by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, the only company responsible for transmitting bulk electricity in Nigeria. You're with Amara Agugoesi, and in this edition, we are bringing you a power sector news roundup. See what we have for you. The Minister of Power, Engineer Abubakar D. Aliyu, conferred with Fellowship of Solar Energy Society of Nigeria. Nigeria, Korea to strengthen ties to tackle energy challenges. Federal Ministry of Power's new Permanent Secretary, Peter Temitope Fashedemi, assumes duty. Also in this edition, we bring to you a focus on agencies in the power sector. You get to know more about the roles of the National Power Training Institute of Nigeria, NAPTIN, and the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC, NBET, in the Nigerian electricity supply industry. The Power Circuit recently explored some of the nearly completed power transmission projects under the Abuja feeding scheme in Abuja. In today's interview segment, the project coordinator substation for the Abuja feeding scheme of the AFD Project Implementation Unit at CCN, Engineer Zuera Abba, elaborated on these projects funded by the French Development Agency, AFD. The Minister of Power, Engineer Abubakar D. Aliyu, has been conferred with the Fellowship of the Solar Energy Society of Nigeria.
The society presented the award to the minister during a conferment ceremony held in Kaduna during the 40th National Solar Energy Forum. The Minister of State for Power, Godi J.D. Agwa, who represented the minister at the event, presented a signal certificate of conferment of the Solar Energy Society of Nigeria Fellowship to Engineer Aliyu in his office after he returned from the forum. Earlier at the forum, the minister reiterated the commitment of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration in driving decarbonization while promoting solar power developments in Nigeria by private sector developers.
The Minister of State Power, Godi J.D. Agba, has said Nigeria is willing to explore areas of partnership with South Korea to address its energy challenges. The minister stated this when he received a delegation led by the President of Korea Africa Foundation, His Excellency Leo Woon-ki, in his office in Abuja.
J.D. Agba said the learning from Korea experience and seeking areas of cooperation to address the nation's energy problems were appealing for the government of President Muhammadu Buhari to explore. He explained that because Nigeria is committed to the United Nations plan to transform the global energy sector from fossil-based to zero carbon by 2060, the current administration is investing heavily on the renewable energy sector. Woon-ki said the purpose of his visit was to familiarize with the ministry and to have an insight into the power sector with a view to exploring possible areas of partnership.
The Power Circuit continues in a moment. Please stay with us.
Just count all the blocks, eh?
Hello, sir. We are a transmission company of Nigerian linesmen, and we just observed that you're about to erect a structure here.
You're very observant. Yes, I'm trying to put up a shopping mall of 200 shops that will serve this neighborhood. And I'm very excited about the project.
But sir, have you observed that it is under high tension transmission lines? It could snap, drop on the shopping mall and electrocute everyone inside it. Moreover, sir, these lines emit electromagnetic waves that are harmful to the health of human beings.
Really? This could cause so much harm?
Absolutely, sir. Imagine if there's a fire outbreak in the mall. It could destroy the transmission lines, causing outage to many states in the country. Erecting a structure under high-tension transmission lines will not help government efforts to grow our power supply and grow our economy. Be part of growth. Do not destroy electricity power installations. Little vigilance and concern on our part is necessary to protect transmission infrastructure nationwide. Be vigilant.
This message is brought to you by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, transmitting electricity in the most efficient and effective manner.
The new permanent secretary in the Federal Ministry of Power, Mr. Peter Temitope Fashedemi, has assumed work at the ministry as it tasked staff on sustaining teamwork.
Mr. Fashedemi was among the permanent secretaries recently deployed to various ministries and departments by the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation, HOCSF. At the handover ceremony, Mr. Fashedemi thanked the honorable ministers, the outgoing permanent secretary, Nebolisa Nako, and the staff of the ministry for the warm reception accorded him on his arrival. He also pledged his commitment in ensuring improvement in the power sector and in delivering on the ministry's mandate, promising to continue from where his predecessor stopped.
In this ministry, the administration's mandate is clear, what they want to achieve. Mr. President is represented here by the Honorable Minister, as was alluded to earlier, and he has a Minister of State. And I think what they want to do is also clear. So, this time around that I'm part of the soldier that is coming, and also knowing the fact that it is by God's benevolence that I happen to be here, I'm going to focus strictly on what the mandate is and to ensure that we achieve it.
Fashedemi then enjoined staff to work as a team, adding that as a family, we are better positioned to achieve the mandate of the Ministry of Power. The outgoing permanent secretary, Mr. Nako, thanked the ministry officials for their cooperation while he served. He also enjoined the staff to accord the new permanent secretary the same cooperation given to him in regards to delivering on the ministry's mandates.
Happy with your very strong employees. That's coming to a big family, a big ministry. Of course, we all know the Federal Ministry of Power has very important role to play in the economy, both in social and economic life, social political life of the nation. And it's a very interesting place to work, very exciting place to work. Also a very busy place, challenges coming up. So I have the pleasure of being as the new permanent secretary, Federal Ministry of Power.
Welcome to Know Your Agencies, a segment where we bring to you a highlight of the roles of agencies in the power sector. Today, our spotlight is on the roles of the National Power Training Institute of Nigeria, NAPTIN, and the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC, NBET, in the Nigerian electricity supply industry. Take a look.
National Power Training Institute of Nigeria, NAPTIN, is a strategic agency under the Federal Ministry of Power. It was established on March 23, 2009, and commenced full operation in September 2009. The primary purpose for its establishment is to provide training for power sector personnel and coordinate training activities in the sector. In pursuit of this mandate, NAPTIN has taken over the management of existing 7 regional training centers of PHCN. The mission of NAPTIN is to provide skillful workforce and professionals for the power sector through training, research, and development in partnership with national and international public and private entities. The objectives of the National Power Training Institute are to create a strong, dynamic, and world-class power training institute called NAPTIN, to create a cadre of expert and professional trainers, to develop partnerships, affiliations, and linkages with local and international training institutes and universities, to develop a marketing strategy to market the value of training in power utilities in Nigeria. The vision of NAPTIN is to be a center of excellence for human capital development in the power sector. NAPTIN's strategic approach to realizing its objective is to align talented young minds with the industrial world by equipping them with adequate skills through a world-class structured training using up-to-date technology and teaching equipment, and consequently raising a pool of skilled professionals that will contribute to the qualitative growth of the power sector in Nigeria and Africa at large. The faculty chosen for course, module design, and delivery is a blend of local and international expert trainers and practitioners. At NAPTIN, the core values are summed up in these 5 values: knowledge and learning, research and innovation, accountability, effective communication, and transparency. The mandate of the National Power Training Institute is to serve as a focal point for human resource development and workforce capacity building, as well as research center in matters relating to power in Nigeria and possibly Africa in general, to offer comprehensive hands-on engineering and technical training programs for professional and graduates in the power sector, to ensure maintenance of industry common standards and dissemination of new ideas and technology to the power industry, to assist in identifying employees' competency gaps and training needs, to provide manpower development advisory support to the power sector industry, and performance culture is instilled and utilized by engineers, technologists, technicians, artisans, and craftsmen through its training throughout the industry in order to enhance efficiency, and finally to design professional certificate programs that will ensure efficiency and global recognition. The National Power Training Institute NAPTIN is under the able leadership of the Director General Ahmed Bolaji Nagode, MCIPM, MNIM. The National Power Training Institute NAPTIN, a center of excellence for human capital development in the power sector.
And for the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC and BET, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Nnemeka Ewelukwa, gives you a brief of what his agency does.
Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC was incorporated as a company in 2010 and started operation in 2011. Under the Power Sector Reform Act, Section 25, there's provision for, as part of the reform process, for a licensee of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission tasked with the responsibility of functioning as a middleman in the electricity market, essentially buying electricity from power generation companies and selling electricity to power distribution companies. This is envisaged as a transitional entity that will work pending when there's confidence in the market that facilitates bilateral trading between generation companies and distribution companies. In a nutshell, that's what we do.
believe you now know NAPTIN to be power sector trainer and the NBT as the bulk electricity trader, mediating between the generation companies, GENCOs, and the distribution companies, DISCOs. We hope to get you acquainted with more agencies in the power sector. Always keep a date with us on Know Your Agencies. The interview segment will come your way shortly. Get ready to explore with the power circuits.
Verify that land before you buy it. To drastically reduce the incidence of building under the transmission right-of-way or encroaching on designated TCN land, members of the public are hereby requested to verify land near or along transmission line route before purchasing it. Verification should be made in the Land Development Authority or at the TCN office. This would help in drastically reducing the incidence of building under transmission line right-of-way and save us all the problem of pulling down the structure or truncating transmission line expansion projects in your community due to court injunction. Help us serve you better. Verify that land before you buy it.
This is the interview segment of the power circuit. Meet the project coordinator substation for the Abuja feeding scheme of the AFD project implementation unit at TCN, Engineer Zuera Abba. She'll be elaborating on the scope of the Abuja feeding scheme, comprising 6 components, of which 5 of them are substation projects, all funded by the French Development Agency. The Abuja feeding scheme project scope.
Abuja feeding scheme has about 6 components. That's 6 lots. So out of those 6 lots, lot 1 and 2 are transmission lines, while lots 3 to 6 are substations. So as you said, we visited 3 out of the 4 substations, though there are 5 substations, because lot 5 has 2 components of the project itself, because it has Kuje and Wumba all as a lot. So we only visited Kwarimpa, which is lot 6, Kuje, Wumba, which is 1 component of lot 5, and lot 3, which is the new Apo substation, 330 132 kV substation. Generally, we will say it is quite an impressive progress, as you could see, particularly on lot 6 and even the lot 5. But lot 6, as we've earlier said, God willing, we expect by the end of September, inshallah, that station will be energized. And as for lot 5, that's Wumba, you could also see the progress is quite tremendous as well. We are at about 84.5% cumulative. That's for both Kuje and Wumba. And hopefully that station will also be completed very soon. Though we have a little challenge that we have to wait for the transmission line to be able to energize that substation. Notwithstanding, all issues on the transmission line as well have been resolved, and we believe that aspect too will come up very soon. And coming to lot 3, a lot of the equipment are on site, and erection is fast going on. Though we also have a challenge on that side with regards to the transmission line, which is also not going to take too long from now, actually. Inshallah, it will also be commissioned.
TCN Project Implementation Unit has cordial working relationship with the AFD team.
Sincerely speaking, I would say the working relationship with AFD as the financier has been very cordial, I can say, and very professional. I want to commend the AFD itself, because in terms of project management, there are some key components that they're very meticulous about, and that has helped a lot in the implementation aspect of this project. And they've been very professional. The relationship truly has been very cordial. Particularly, I will use this medium to commend Dr. Ademola. He has been a very good drive for this project. He's very passionate about it, and the same thing with the entire AFD team. The entire team has been very passionate, and definitely there's been no any issue as far as the working relationship is concerned.
TCN is passionate about delivering impactful power transmission projects nationwide.
TCN, particularly in projects, this is one of the main driving force of TCN itself as a company. We all know, because if we don't have the projects coming up or being completed day in, day out, obviously, I mean, the issue of lights would still have been a problem. But TCN as a company is doing so well, particularly the project aspects. We're doing very well in such a way that day in, day out, you see our people, our engineers, they're always on their toes, they're always on their feet. The risks involved, nonetheless, no engineer minds that risk. They always take it up upon themselves. So I would like to commend all the engineers in TCN, including all the TCN staff, particularly those that also follow us on the coverage and the rest. But to the management, they've been doing so well, and I think would like them to continue on the spots that they've been moving on. That is, it's very commendable.
Federal government appeals to Nigerians to support actions against the vandalism and theft of power transmission assets.
Nigerians, all we can say is please, they should cooperate with TCN. Many people out there don't know what we do because they don't just see us and we don't make so much noise, but you know, we do a lot. We're silent achievers, as I earlier said, and it is a very critical aspect of all the infrastructure that we know world over: power, electricity. So, and then it is very risky. So please, Nigerian populace, they should cooperate with TCN and ensure that we all say no to vandalism, and we all say no to theft of TCN equipment, because that vandalism is always taking us back. And please, we should try to cooperate with TCN staff wherever anyone meets them, because they are doing a very risky job, particularly the engineers.
You have heard from Engineer Zuwera Abba on the efforts of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, towards delivering the Abuja Transmission Feeding Scheme this year. All is on course, and soon residents in Abuja will begin to feel the impact of these new additions of power infrastructure to the national electricity grid. Here are the highlights of what we brought to you today. From the Minister's desk, we told you that the Minister of Power, Engineer Abubakar D. Aliyu, has been conferred with the Fellowship of Solar Energy Society of Nigeria. Nigeria, Korea to strengthen ties to tackle energy challenges. Federal Ministry of Power's new Permanent Secretary, Peter Temitope Fashedemi, assumes duty. The roles played by the National Power Training Institute of Nigeria, NAPTIN, and the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC, NBET, in the Nigerian electricity supply industry were on the spotlight in the Know Your Agency segment. And our interview personality today was the project coordinator substation for the Abuja feeding scheme of the AFD project implementation unit at TCN, Engineer Zuwera Abba. Her office is swiftly delivering key power transmission substations in Abuja, and residents will soon begin to feel the impact of these projects. You can always stay on course with power sector reports on the TCN YouTube channel. And we have more platforms you can explore as we take your feedback seriously. Amara Agugoesi is saying, until next week, when we come your way again, enjoy the rest of your time.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
In our society, there are several ways of shouting yay. You say yay, people will run. You say yay, yeah, they will dance. It's the same yay. We can still say what you want to say, which is the truth, without ruffling anybody's feather. You see, it's a matter of presentation.
Nigeria is Africa's most populous nation, with cultural and media influence throughout the entire continent. But it's facing a conservation crisis. Its wildlife and national parks are highly endangered by poaching and illegal logging. It's the epicenter of the illegal trade in ivory and pangolin scales, with tons of product representing thousands of animals seized in recent times by customs. It has strong demand for illegal bushmeat that endangers animals and risks introduction of zoonotic disease. But Nigeria could be a conservation leader. With Lagos leading the way, Nigeria is updating its wildlife legislation. It's improving its wildlife law enforcement, and it's revolutionizing its public awareness. WildAid and its Nigerian partners are launching the largest ever conservation awareness program in Africa to drastically increase coverage of wildlife issues. Working with government agencies, working with the media, working with prominent Nigerian ambassadors.
Report suspicious activity and wildlife crime.
To promote Nigeria's national parks. To promote wildlife law enforcement. To raise awareness of the dangers of illegal bushmeat. And to promote alternatives. Nigeria can go from crisis to becoming a leader in conservation.
So let's do the right thing.
Tell your family and friends to say no to illegal bushmeat.
Keep them wild, keep them wild. Keep them wild, keep us safe.
And keep us safe.
I'm actually a passionate baker. I don't rest until everything is done.
When I entered university, anytime I'm broke, I'll make cupcakes and go and sell to the other students.
Decorating cake it's an artistic thing, and art is, dynamic.
join us on Baker's World every Thursday on the network service of the NTA. Baker's World, celebrating creativity. Don't miss it.
A very good evening to you and welcome to NTA's News Top Table, where you get an extra feel of Nigerian stories treated with unique insight. Tonight, the Federal Executive Council shines the spotlight on airlines with a serious threat of sanctions against those of them selling air tickets in dollars in Nigeria instead of naira, thereby violating the laws of the land. That's not all, as the high-level meeting approved the National Flood Response Plan as part of efforts to mitigate the impact of the natural disaster. We have the latest happenings within the political landscape too. There's quite a chunk on security, ranging from the recovery of abducted children by the police in Port Harcourt to a peep at abandoned buildings as threat to security, as the state considered as the worst hit by insurgency counts the gains from counterinsurgency operations. The national shipping line is in the news. What about it? Find out. Nigeria makes bold statement on disease prevention as it launches hand hygiene roadmap. We shall bring a bit of transportation-related matters from the SOS, or shall I say, a stitch in time saves 9. Well, there is a call for action over Ojutu Bridge by motorists. You should stay tuned to find out where that is located. Elsewhere comes the hammer that is hitting hard on those who move around on unregistered motorcycles. In sports, of course, is the so much talked about NFF elections. We have these and other stories all lined up to serve your viewing pleasure. So stay with us as the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Umar Buba and this is News Extra. You're welcome. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen for updates. The federal government has threatened to sanction any airline that refuses to accept the naira for air tickets in the country, describing the reported preference for dollar as a violation of the nation's laws. The Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, issued the threat at a media briefing after the meeting of the Federal Executive Council. State House correspondent Adam Osombo reports on this and other resolutions adopted at the high-level meeting.
The high and the mighty amongst them will be sanctioned if they are caught doing that. NCAA had been directed to swing into action, and once we find any airline violating this, we will definitely deal with them.
The Aviation Minister, Hadi Sirika, had earlier secured the Council's approval to sign a bilateral air services agreement with the state of Kuwait to open up opportunities for air transportation between the two countries. The minister has also been given the go-ahead to engage consultants for the revalidation and collection of aviation height clearance taxes on behalf of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority.
There had been instances where there were air crashes in Nigeria due to masts. The one in Jos involving Wasi. I think Abdullah Wasi was a clear cut of having masts around the airport or in the vicinity or en route, or any other obstruction for that matter, so long as it causes unsafe operations. That needs to be determined, and that needs to be regulated by NCAA. The government will ensure that the law has been enforced. What concerns us in civil aviation is how very safe, secure, and efficient you depart point A and land at point B.
And giving an update on the national carrier, the Nigeria Air, Hadi Sirika said the process is on course, describing, however, as false, baseless, and mischievous certain media reports that 14 billion naira has been expended so far towards achieving the objective.
The entire amount of money spent on national carrier is around the transaction advisory services. And we came here with a memo with approval, and we dished out to the press as to the quantum of money to be spent. That was 352 million naira. And the further contract of 299 million naira. That's it. I'm very embarrassed by that statement. It's not factual, it's not true, it's meant to mislead people. Federal government is committed to establishing this career. We've gone very far. We've found a partner. We are negotiating. We will come to council and get the full business report approved, and then we'll come here and declare. Nigeria is certainly the candidate for a national carrier. It will happen, and it will ease your transport needs, inshallah.
The Federal Executive Council also approved 829.8 million naira for the completion of the rehabilitation work on Unko Inyi Apoigboze Road, linking Anambra and Enugu states.
It is indeed a very strategic road. And one of the essence of this augmentation is not only because of revising the rates to meet the challenges that the contractor had been facing, but also to ensure that there is more longevity on the road, because another innovation had been introduced that would further strengthen the road. It will give it more longevity, and therefore it will withstand the traffic on that road.
The minister used the opportunity to reassure Nigerians that the Buhari presidency is committed to completing most of its major roads infrastructure projects under construction, emphasizing that the second Niger Bridge, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, as well as Abuja, Kaduna-Kano Highway in particular, will be inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari before the end of his tenure. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the National Social Investment Program Establishment Bill 2022 has been approved by the Federal Executive Council. This is to give legal backing to the social welfare initiatives of the federal government aimed at alleviating poverty amongst the vulnerable populations. Also approved is the National Flood Emergency Preparedness and Response Plan for Nigeria as part of efforts towards mitigating the impact of the natural disaster on the society. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, announced these at a media briefing after the Council's meeting. State House correspondent Adam Sombo again reports.
The Hybrid Council meeting, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, deliberated extensively on the impact of the various social investment programs on poverty alleviation and economic development. Sustainability, the ministers say, is key towards achieving government's objectives of lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by the year 2030. And this informed the unanimous approval of the National Social Investment Program Establishment Bill 2022, presented by the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk.
You are all aware that poverty in our country, especially amongst the poor and vulnerable in Nigeria, is a serious issue. The performance of the NSIP since inception in 2016 to date, under the administration of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, through the 4 cluster programs of Empower, JEEP, Conditional Cash Transfer, and the National Homegrown School Feeding Program, have been appreciated by Nigerians. Therefore, government decision is very apt. This is a pro-poor bill. It's a bill that will go a long way in addressing the issues of poverty, vulnerabilities, and all other issues that affect our poor and vulnerable in this country.
The National Flood Emergency Preparedness and Response Plan, approved by the Council, on the other hand, is aimed at mitigating the possible effect of flooding incidents across Nigeria.
This plan sets out clear roles and responsibility of each stakeholder involved in flood preparedness, mitigation, response, and recovery. This plan comes at a time where floods are at its peak and the impact is leading to the loss of lives, destruction of properties, stagnation of livelihood, and damage to our environment. We call on all states and operational stakeholders to implement the plan so that we can return to normalcy and protect our national development.
The National Flood Emergency Preparedness and Response Plan, the minister explained, seeks to make Nigeria more resilient in tackling flood disasters through effective response measures, leveraging on existing tools as well as human and financial resources. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And President Muhammadu Buhari has reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to promoting peace and harmony among ECOWAS member countries towards achieving the desired prosperity. This was while granting audience to the ECOWAS Special Envoy to Mali and former Nigerian leader Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu again has that.
Former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was accompanied to the State House by the new president of the ECOWAS Commission, Dr. Umar Aliyu Toure of the Gambia. His mission to bring President Muhammadu Buhari up to speed on the face-off between Mali and Cote d'Ivoire over detained Ivorian soldiers. Reports say 49 Ivorian soldiers had been arrested in Mali for what the country described as unlawful entry. So far, only the 3 female members in the team have been released. The development is threatening a rupture in the relationship between the 2 West African countries. Cote d'Ivoire condemned the act, calling it hostage-taking, saying it may take action, hence the need for ECOWAS leaders' intervention, as advocated by the Special Envoy, former President Goodluck Jonathan. President Muhammadu Buhari pledged an initiative from Nigeria towards immediate resolution of the impasse in the overall interests of the sub-region. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
To a bit on education now, the Academic Staff Union of Universities have been advised to ask not only what the government can do for the union, but seek what they can do for the country. These were the views of some Nigerians as they urged the union to seek collective good of the nation by calling off strike in the interest of educational system of the country. Amaka Uwu reports.
The ongoing strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, which began on February 14, 2022, is considered one of the longest in the history of the union, established in 1978 and has over 50 higher institutions under its umbrella.
My ID card says 2021. That's the expiry date of my ID card. And now it's 2022 and I'm still in school.
I haven't seen it for 30 years. I think it's all in good faith. I think that what they're doing is destroying the faith of Nigerians in the Nigerian institution, destroying the faith of Nigerians in the Nigerian academic system.
Considering that these strikes have huge setbacks on the educational system, which include loss of revenue, academic redundancy, exposure to societal hazards, and many more, it has become worrisome that the damage is enormous.
It's going to have an effect on them because they might be rejected due to this. They are not, their goals, their life goals is not, is low-key cut short. And this can also bring some anxiety symptoms, even depressive symptoms.
They say where 2 elephants fight, the grass, suffers. So the students are suffering the more. And then parents who are affected, Even the economy around the universities is also affected.
There is dilapidation of facilities going on. When you don't use facilities, houses, laboratories, libraries, you are not using them. They go bad. Our solution takes over. Then we now come back. This is another wastage.
Solutions to ending this recurring decimal that poses as a disadvantage to the advancement of youthful development remains urgent, as some are of the view that it takes time for those involved to make sacrifices.
Concession from left, concession from right will be able to get us at least in a better place than we are now.
Education, they say, is the passport to the future. That will remain a mirage in the Nigerian context if the truncated academic sessions continue to persist. Hence, it is important for an end to the prolonged strikes crippling the nation's ivory tower in the interests of nation building. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
The inauguration of the Rivers State University Emohua campus is part of efforts by the state government to create more access to tertiary education in the state. Ogedi Nwekwere reports that the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, was the special guest at the inauguration and flag off of the construction of staff quarters.
It is no news that citing an educational institution in any locality will enhance its development. This is because it helps to create a sense of community identity and shared purpose, as well as help to build the skills and knowledge needed for people to work together to address common challenges. The new campus of the Rivers State University in Emohua will not only help the people to access higher education easily, but also expedite development in the area. Governor Wike was pleased with the university management for working assiduously to ensure the take-off structures came to fruition. He promised that the state government will rebuild some of the abandoned projects in the premises.
We have to establish satellite campuses so that the main campus will leverage of other facilities that have been occupied by some of these faculties. Secondly, it will have to bring development to these areas.
Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, commended the efforts of the Rivers State government in bringing education closer to the people.
I'm excited every time we have to flag off a project or we have to commission a project, because that is development. And those are things that the people that will come after us, there are things that they will see.
The governor of Oyo State also laid the foundation stone for the staff quarters in the campus, comprising of one-story building of 6 units of 3-bedroom flats and 6 units of 2-bedroom flats, respectively. In Emohua, Ogedi Nwekwere, NTA News.
In the meantime, the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu says there is no rift between him and the national chairman of the party, Abdullahi Adamu. During a meeting at the APC National Secretariat, Bola Tinubu acknowledged a long-standing political relationship among members of his presidential campaign team and the National Working Committee as an advantage to fast-track his ambition. Salihu Gwanara has that.
The meeting was in 2 sessions, all behind closed doors. First, between the presidential candidate and the national chairman of the party, and the second one between the team and the National Working Committee members of the party. Before the second closed-door session, the party's presidential candidate, for the first time, formally held talks with members of the National Working Committee and spoke on his plans and the need to, as a united family, defend and uphold democratic ethos.
Yes, we have to be progressive in our thinking, in our deeds, in our objective to serve the country.
We have some briefing from him and the DG campaign, and we had some very, very useful discussion following that brief.
At the end of the closed-door engagement, the presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu responded to questions from journalists.
The purpose of this meeting is to consult both the organization structure for the campaign, for us to harmonize any fear and to make sure that we have an inclusive, all party and all hands on deck.
The next general election, he said, is another platform for the progressives to harmonize support and key into the vision of sustainable leadership. APC's vice presidential candidate Kashim Shettima, Speaker House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, Director General APC Presidential Campaign Simon Lalong, and Governor Dave Umahi of Ebonyi State were some of the top members of the party in the presidential candidate's entourage. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Now, as Nigeria continues to strive towards achieving better accountability and transparency in governance for the improved management of public funds, Auditors General for local governments are engaging in Abuja towards implementation of the International Public Sector Accounting Standards. Muplang Dakok reports.
10 years since the federal government began reforms in the public finance management system. The International Public Sector Accounting Standards, IPSAS, is one of such tools employed to strengthen the public sector. Despite the successes achieved by the federal government through the IPSAS program, implementing it at the lower tier of government remains a challenge. Auditors General from all over the country are sharing perspectives on how to collectively achieve this objective at the grassroots.
Local governments and area councils need improved accountability, greater transparency in the expenditure of public resources that has consistently been on the decline.
For any country that is conscious of efficiency, effectiveness, transparency of public administration, must strengthen the audit institution.
Participants were exposed to contemporary trends in ensuring high level of accountability and transparency in public accounting that is tailored along global best practices.
More than 2/3 of Nigerian population are domiciled at the third tier of government. Therefore, the welfare of the people at this level is paramount.
The challenge before us is how to perform our statutory duties in accordance with the recently passed audit laws.
The next phase entails translating the knowledge gained here to goals at the grassroots in line with audit laws. In Abuja, Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
Still on public accounting, Nigeria has spared no efforts to improving financial reporting and transparency, but there is still work to be done in terms of best practices. This is why the Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAC, Subcommittee on Implementation of the International Public Sector Accounting Standards, has brought together finance operators from across the country to enhance their proficiency on implementation. Nneka Uku reports.
Nigeria in 2010 took the decision to adopt the International Public Sector Accounting Standards, IPSAS, in an effort to deepen transparency and accountability in public finance management, as well as strengthen public confidence in government. Since then, the subcommittee has constantly engaged with key stakeholders across the 3 tiers of government for its seamless implementation.
The objective is to have people, players in the field who are capable of starting implementation of IPSAS from the beginning to the end.
Because you now have the responsibility to reorientate people towards the new order.
But despite 12 years of continuous effort to put Nigeria on the global map in IPSAS implementation, not all entities of government have been able to effectively migrate from cash-basis accounting to IPSAS accrual-basis accounting as a result of inadequate manpower.
And that is why the subcommittee has made concerted efforts to continue to build capacities across the 3 tiers of government.
It is expected that at the end of the 3-day capacity building, the finance operators will be better equipped to challenge and change the status quo at the various public sector entities to adopt only practices that are in conformity with the set standards. In Abuja, Nneka Oku, NTA News.
Let's head to Owerri now, where the 5th session of the 2022 mandatory continuing professional development program of the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN, has ended with a commitment to ensuring adherence to ethics of the profession through constant training. Correspondent Chukwu Bike Chukwu has the details.
The Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, like other professional bodies, is saddled with the responsibility of training, regulating and ensuring that their members keep to the tenets of their profession as embedded in the laws establishing them. In order to ensure that both old and newly inducted members are abreast with the dynamics of accounting, the body introduced mandatory continuing professional development program, among other policies aimed at enhancing their performance.
When there are new developments in the profession, we bring it to our members. And we also monitor what they are doing so that we remain relevant.
Imo State Governor, represented by his deputy, Professor Placid Njoku, applauds ANAN for the standard it has set in the practice of accounting in the country and appealed to the body to continue in its effort of fishing out bad eggs among them.
It is my hope that this 5th session of ANAN 2022 Mandatory Continuing Professional Development Program will incorporate in your members and will be members the spirit of true professionalism, work ethics and value, conduct, and above all, the attitude of patriotism.
Some participants at the event bear their minds.
What I don't even know, ANAN has been able to teach me a lot of things.
I'm impacted with knowledge. They are wonderful.
The 5th section of the 2022 Mandatory Continuing Professional Development Program of ANAN also featured induction of new members.
That I shall not use the professional designation.
In Owerri, Chukwu Bike Chukwu, NTA News.
The purpose of sanctions under the law is to ensure adherence of members of society to the rules and regulations. In a bid to achieve this, the Nigerian legal system is now undergoing reforms towards ensuring the humane treatment of offenders, as it holds consultations on ways of enhancing the non-custodial sentencing model. Olabode Arewa has the report.
A marked feature of a criminal trial is to obtain the conviction or acquittal of a defendant. Typically, the convicts are sent to correctional centers to serve their sentences, except for juveniles who are sent to remand homes for reformation. Not many people are aware of the coming into existence of new measures under the administration of Criminal Justice Act and the Nigeria Correctional Service Act, providing for simpler measures that reform, rehabilitate, and reintegrate offenders into the society. For instance, under the non-custodial measures being championed by the Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee or the Federal Ministry of Justice and other partners, over 23,000 convictions have been achieved already, with offenders made to either pay fines, do community service, or some other actions, depending on the peculiarity of the case.
We appreciate that community service is perhaps the most feasible area that is being practiced presently, but we believe that issues around restorative justice, we are also very much interested.
Abuja appreciates that we must consider the issues of reformation.
Although an implementation committee to drive the non-custodial measures is yet to be inaugurated, its positive effects are already manifesting in the decongestion of correctional centers.
Restorative justice aims at repairing the harm caused by offenders in the society. It is achieved through a cooperative process involving the offender, the offended, and the community.
With the political will and the institutional buy-in increasing day by day, key players in the justice sector believe that the society will be the ultimate beneficiary. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Thank you so much, Olabode. We take some time out at this point. Hang in there, because when News Extra returns, security holds sway. So stay tuned, as all the perspectives are a must watch.
What is sound when you wake up one day and there's no country? Only chaos, confusion, bloodshed. No. We must stand for our nation. We must also stand for the armed forces. Our prayers, our validation of their efforts is what they need, which we must strive to give them as patriotic citizens. Together, we are stronger. One nation, one armed forces, one people, our Nigeria.
His Excellency Nyesom Wike, CON, GSSRS, POS Africa, Governor of River State, cordially invites the general public to the commissioning of River State University, Ahoda campus, and flag off of the construction of one-story building consisting of 6 units of 3-bedroom flats and 6 units of 2-bedroom flats, respectively, at Ahoda campus, Block B. The project commissioning and flag off will be performed by His Excellency Engineer Sheyi Makinde, Governor of Oyo State, on Thursday, 8th September 2022 at 11 a.m. All invitees must adhere to COVID-19 protocol. You're welcome, Your Excellency, and all invited guests. Announcer Kelvin Ebiri, Special Assistant on Media to the Governor of River State.
Fighter from Niger, 60 years of comfort. Quality is fighter, quality is fighter, fighter for sure. It's fighter, thank you for all the joy, memories of comfort.
Vitafoam is proudly Nigerian and constantly support Nigerians with consistent quality products for comfort and well-being. With Vitafoam, you don't just sleep. We give you the comfort that gets you recharged. Vitafoam, the fine art of living.
Are you a fresh university graduate? Are you an NYSC member? Do you seek to become an entrepreneur? The Organization of Youth in International Trade and Commerce, OYITC, in partnership with NTA TVE and Afro Agric Expo LLC, presents a one-day workshop at Wealth from Non-Oil Export. Date 22nd of September 2022. Time 10 a.m. No African time. Venue NEF Conference Hall, 2nd floor, Block D, Federal Ministry of Industry and Trade, Old Secretariat, Area 1, Abuja. Guest speakers: Mrs. Chiwe Osuji, Chief Legal Officer, NTA TVE; Barrister Vera Ndanusa, President, National Association of Women Entrepreneurs; Dr. Chus Ngaha, Director, Corporate Services Department of RMRDC; and Mr. Chinedu Amadi, President, OYITC. For more details, please call Nafisa on 08033 10922, Ifani on 0906 454 5266, Angoleka on 0805 352 0874. OYITC, empowering the Nigerian youth and women.
Once a deplorable road, now respite has come for motorists and residents in Ihuabasi Estate, courtesy of the Executive Governor of Abia State, His Excellency Okezie Ibeazu. The road is to be commissioned by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Oyo State, Sheyi Makinde, on Friday, 9 September 2022. Announcer, Abia State Government.
They say nothing good comes easy, but with determination and sheer focus, Boa Foods finds new ways to put food on many plates. We produce competitively priced sugar, flour, and pasta that are highly sought after by our corporate and trade partners. At Boa Foods, we remain committed to lead with purpose and make a difference by embracing the responsibility to meet Africa's growing food demand. We dare to lead, so can you. Boa Foods, nourishing lives.
Fellow citizens of our great country, my name is Ahmed Nuhu Bomali, the Emir of Zazzau. I align with the commitment of Federal Road Safety Corps in making our roads safe. Motorcycle riders are one of the most vulnerable road users. Always wear your helmet, keep your eyes on the road, keep a distance, keep both hands on the handlebars, and stay focused.
Welcome back. Remarkable achievements recorded by the Nigerian armed forces in the counterinsurgency operations brought relief to citizenry across the northeast sub-region, giving way for sustained reconstruction of destroyed communities, resettlements, and gradual revival of livelihoods. The post-insurgency recovery programs are now game changers as peace and normalcy take root in the once tormented societies. And Memora Gabra has the report.
The containment of insecurity in the northeast was as a result of several approaches devised by the military, as both kinetic and non-kinetic operations have helped in the liberation of communities under the occupation of insurgents and restoration of peace, among others.
The federal government under the presidency of Muhammadu Buhari has been able to redouble efforts in terms of logistics, deployment of security personnel, and financial reimbursement to Borno State in order to contain the security situation.
The success story about the Northeast are based on sincerity of purpose.